The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on a break!
With Nick Eatman, David Hellman, Ambar Garcia, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Thursday, January 3rd, 2019, Season 14, Episode number 107. Welcome to another edition of The Break. We are live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. We're talking Cowboys football today. We're talking Cowboys versus Seattle Seahawks. Big playoff game for this weekend, the wild card weekend in the NFL. Cowboys will play the Seahawks this Saturday night at AT&T Stadium. We will spend quite a bit of the show today with Dave giving us his scouting report on the Seattle offense. We talked about the defense yesterday. We talked about the offense the other day. We're going to talk about defense today. How's everybody doing today?
Great.
Good?
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's jump right in. Let's talk about this injury report. There were two guys that did not practice. Both did not practice on what would have been, I guess, I'm confused.
It's Friday.
On Wednesday, what would have been a Thursday with David Irving and Xavier Su'a-Filo. Are you guys at this point thinking that Xavier Su'a-Filo is unlikely to play due to the fact that he has not practiced this week?
At this point, I am, yes, because it's Friday in Cowboys world, at least, and he is not at practice. Jason Garrett also said today that he is not going through the walkthroughs. So he's not even doing
walkthrough just to know what his mental reps.
Yeah.
That bad.
That, to me, suggests that he does not have a very high likelihood of playing in this game.
How concerned are you?
Very. He's way better than Connor Williams.
Yeah.
Connor Williams did not play well in that first game against Seattle, and hopefully he's better player. But, I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence the team started winning once they put him in. I mean, it's not just Cooper. He was a big part of it, and so I think he's a better player. And I would like to see him out there more than Connor Williams.
Yep.
You want to have a few things that are different than that first game because they kind of kicked your ass the first time around. So you want to have some things that are different. This is a noticeable difference to me, and him not being out there is a big deal.
And Dave will talk a little bit about that defense, but in that last game, they were able to hit Dak 10 times, and they've sacked him 5 times. So that defensive front, they had some players.
He got lucky with the whole turnover thing. He didn't throw an interception, didn't let the ball loose, and that's a big thing with him when it comes to playing. So I'd be interested and curious to see if he can do that and manage to do that again with more struggles on the O-line.
We talking Dak right now?
Dak, yeah.
He had 2 turnovers in that Seahawks game.
Yep, 2 interceptions.
But I'm talking about like the last game.
Oh, no, yeah, he's been great at ball security the last 2 weeks. In Seattle, no, not so much, which we'll get into it. What has given the Cowboys problems this year? Interior pass rushers, and Seahawks have a good one. So,
He fumbled twice in that game against Seattle.
Zeke did. Dak
just had
threw 2 picks. Yeah,
and both of the interceptions,
volleyball.
They were kind of freak plays a little bit, but sometimes when you put the ball in the wrong place, that kind of stuff ends up happening. And certainly on the second one, you could make the argument that he probably shouldn't have made that throw into that particular coverage. But
I will say, in defense of Connor Williams, I would much rather have a healthy Xavier Su'a-Filo, but he's not healthy. So I think I said that yesterday. I think I'd rather have a 100% healthy Connor Williams than a Xavier Su'a-Filo who can't put any weight on his foot. And I don't think that sounds like a recipe for trouble to me. So yeah, it's definitely concerning, but you got to make do in times like these.
I keep thinking, he's going to play. They're just going to wrap the crap out of that ankle and just wrap it and help it and throw him in there.
Wrap the crap out of that ankle.
You're absolutely right, though. How often do we? It's a common theme on our show. Like, he's going to play. Like, they're
shoot it up, wrap it up.
Shoot it up, get him out there. But every now and then you come up against a problem that you can't do that with, and
just can't fix it.
Can't rule him out 100%. But if he's not even going through walkthroughs. That to me suggests that they are preparing Connor Williams to have to play this game.
Because if nothing else, the walkthrough makes sure that mentally you know what you need to do, so that when you are healthy, if there's a game time decision, you're ready to go.
If you're a guy that can tape it up and shoot it up, then you're probably going through walkthrough, and they're like, all right, you can't practice, but let's make sure you know your assignments.
Right.
And that's not the case here. So.
All right, let's talk about some of the guys that were limited. Dave, yesterday you mentioned Tavon Austin being limited this week. He also is joined by Sean Lee, Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, Tyrone Crawford, and Darian Thompson as guys that are limited. How concerned are you about that from the standpoint of Tavon Austin and what you talked about yesterday, him being limited this week when last week he was full?
I asked Jason Garrett about it today in his press conference. He said, he's coming back. He came, I think Garrett said he played 15 snaps. He kind of came out of that, favoring it, trying to, listen to your body type of deal. He was at practice today. He was fielding punts today. He was taking part in things. So I guess that's a good sign. And Jason said they're optimistic about his availability for the weekend. So we'll see.
Now, most of the guys on this list of limited are guys that are kind of in a similar boat from the standpoint of they've been hurt. They're veteran players. And it made me wonder if this is more just one of those things where it's like, well, we're limiting them because we don't necessarily want to overwork them in practice. They're veteran players. We want them to be ready for game day. That's the way you take it.
Tavon and Thompson are the guys that I'm watching in terms of their availability. Darian Thompson strained his groin in practice yesterday. He was out there, but he wasn't practicing. He was doing rehab. The other guys, those are veteran guys.
So it's not the same situation to you, Tavon, as these other guys.
No, Zach's going to play. Tyron's going to play. Tyrone's going to play. Yeah, that's standard injury procedure. Those guys are playing.
I was going to say it's a short week, but those three guys, it hasn't been. Tyrone and Tyron and Zach all didn't play. But yeah, I do think the short week is something that they're trying to manage as well. I do think Tavon and Suafilo are tied together on this. I think that if Suafilo is going to play and you need more offensive linemen, I think Tavon's a guy that maybe sits. But the fact that he was working on the punt return team as the punt returner on today's practice makes me think he's going to be active for the game.
And if Darian Thompson is now limited with what I guess is a groin injury that just happened, that also gives you if he ends up in a situation where he has to make a decision.
He has been participating, but I could not definitively tell you what he's done. He's special teams.
That's what I was trying to figure out just now. I'm like, what?
If he's been active, and he can't play, yeah, Darian Thompson. I think that he could be released, and you put a
new guy up,
put a Lumba or somebody that can run down on.
Maybe
possible
if he is playing and he can't. I mean, I don't think it's like, what if we don't have him for the next game? Like, nah, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But if they don't, he's a candidate to be inactive for sure.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into this Seattle offense. Seattle defense.
You're killing me with this today.
I'm all off of my days and everything. But let's jump into the Seattle defense. Obviously, the one thing that jumped out to me as I was looking back at the previous game to this game, it wasn't really – I don't know that we talked about it enough on this show how dominant their defense was, particularly in the first half. Catch this, in the first 7 possessions the Cowboys had, Seattle held them to a 3-and-out. Now, one of those was an interception on the third play, but 5 of 7 possessions, they had 3 plays, and then they got rid of them, and then Seattle took over. It was in my opinion, a pretty stifling defensive front or defense that the Cowboys faced, and the Cowboys really didn't find any answers to it until the second half, and that was still very marginal. Dave, talk to us about that Seattle defense.
I'm going to sort of undermine what you just said, but this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make excuses, but like that, the main thing that jumps out to me from that game, and I'll throw the Carolina game in there, is that it was just like, it was offensive execution, like unbecoming of the NFL, basically. Like it was atrocious. And it was so atrocious that I tend to put more of it on the Cowboys for just being bad than the Seahawks for being good. You know what I mean? And I felt the same way about the Carolina game. 8 points, 13 points, however many 3-and-outs. What was their third down percentage in those games? Like, those were numbers so far below the average of what you see in the NFL that I put more of it on the offense than the defense. And I think that's why you saw this team go out and spend a first-round pick on Amari Cooper. They're like, we cannot continue to play this way. Like, it's embarrassing, for lack of a better word. Like, that's what this team started out. And if you go back and look, I know he fumbled twice. Ezekiel Elliott ran for 127 yards in that game. Like, it's not like they couldn't get anything going. They were just so unbalanced. They could not protect Dak. He could not throw the ball.
No, it was just you asked the question, and I have the answer. 3 of 13, third down in that game. Second worst, only to Carolina.
Embarrassing. Again, like just not like you play bad offense sometimes in the NFL. That was so bad. It just was not professional football, at least not the standard that you come to expect from NFL teams.
Yep. Weird that last week's was by far the best third down without your goal line running back.
They found a tight end. How much?
11 of 17 on third down, 64%.
Yeah,
they have been so unbelievably better since they got Cooper, and it's not all Cooper, but obviously it has a trickle down effect. Yeah. So I want to start. I don't want to take credit away from the Seahawks, but I kind of just basically did.
You did.
Yeah, no, I did. I mean, I'm sorry.
But just to be clear, I don't think you're saying the Seahawks defense isn't good. You're
No.
just saying the Cowboys had as much to do with that poor performance as the Seahawks.
Absolutely, and not like, oh, we were shooting ourselves in the foot. Like, no, like you didn't have players. Like straight out, like you couldn't block them. You didn't have a receiver that could get open. Dak's picks were both volleyball, to quote Nick, and that's because nobody could get separation on anything in that game. So anyway, all of that said, this is a good Seahawks defense. They're not the Legion of Boom. They're middle of the pack statistically, and I think you run into a scenario where maybe the stats lie a little bit. Like I think they're better than, they're 16th overall, 17th against the pass, 11th in scoring. Decent. I think they're better than that, as evidenced by things like they have the fourth best red zone defense in the NFL. They have a better red zone defense than the Cowboys do, which we've been talking about how good the Cowboys' red zone defense is all year. They've got KJ Wright back, which is a big deal.
They got two stud linebackers.
You pair him with Bobby Wagner. Wright missed the first game with a knee injury. He missed the vast majority of the season, really, but he's been back for 3 weeks now. He appears to be playing like the same guy who was pretty good. You've got a 14-sack end in Frank Clark. He gave Tyron Smith fits in that first game, just absolute fits. Jaron Reed is a guy. How do you just like? Is there a list somewhere on the internet? It's like these are all the cues in the NFL.
The bros. I'm just saying.
All of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Pretty much.
Well, he's got 10.5 sacks. Second round pick out of Alabama.
He is a baller.
That's the first game was in week 3. He hadn't really had a chance to establish himself, but he is well established. And this isn't the same Seahawks pass rush from years past where they went like 8 deep, but those two guys concern me, specifically Reed, because of how much trouble we've seen these dominant interior pass rushers give the Cowboys. So
that's a huge number too. 10.5 for interior.
10.5 for an inside.
Now he has
guy,
played. I know in that game he played outside a little bit because there was one sack that he got up against Kyle Collins.
He's a versatile player. He can do both, but he's primarily played on the inside.
That's
and
a big number.
Gotten a lot of his push from the inside too. The front is really what concerns me here. Actually, something to watch there. Which again, you manage guys in the playoffs. I get that, but basically their entire secondary is on the injury report right now. We'll see what today holds, but Shaquille Griffin, their best corner, and Brad McDougald, their best safety, have not practiced yet this week.
Didn't they have a safety earlier this week that was put on IR? I don't know if he was a backup or a special teams guy, but I thought I read.
Remember you
that
mentioning
there was a
that
safety that went on IR.
It's
You
not.
sure keep up with a lot of IR guys.
I just noticed it because usually you'll see it on social media, and then it just kind of pops into my head. But
The last time we argued about this, I was wrong.
I'm not making a definitive declaration.
You tried to tell me Landon Collins was out, and I was like, no, he's right here on my sheet.
Yeah, we don't trust that sheet anymore all the time.
Tedrick Thompson is their de facto starter with Earl Thomas obviously being long gone. He's out of Colorado. He's on the injury report as well. He's not on injured reserve. He's been limited this week in practice. Okay. So the front impresses me a lot more than the back, which is obviously not the case from previous years. Nick, what you got?
Nothing.
Oh,
You're shaking your head. No, what is that?
Oh,
Are you
no,
like thinking,
I thought
oh my God,
there was
oh
a
my
reason why there was a pause there, and I wasn't even going to look up and make eye contact with anyone. So I thought what Dave just said was going to be one of those moments, and I was trying to get out of it. So
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Good.
You implier. You.
No, it was good. I was trying to stay out of it. It's my fault.
the implier.
Yes.
You said it. So I was just like, oh man, I don't even want to touch this. So I just stayed out of it, and now I'm actually.
I'll say this:
Thank you.
I'm scared. I'm scared of the red zone again. I know the Cowboys had success with Blake Jarwin last weekend, but I'm concerned if whether they're gonna be able to keep this up or not, and actually do it once again in the red zone. And with the other guys you got Zeke and all these other tools, and also using Dak running the ball. But like you mentioned, what were they in running defense in red zone defense?
They're allowing a touchdown 49% of the time, which is fourth best in the league. Cowboys are at 51. They're ranked 7th,
And
FYI.
when the Cowboys played them before, Cowboys were 33%. Cowboys only scored a touchdown on one of the 3 times that they were in the red zone. One time ended up in an interception.
Yeah, I don't like it at all.
I think you're at, and hey, Blake Jarwin, do it again, please, because this could be a big week for it. It's going to be interesting. Jason Garrett loves to say it. The Seahawks, they run, it's Chris Richard's scheme. It's the cover 3 scheme that has taken the league by storm because it's been so popular in Seattle. They are famous for we're just going to play our guy. We're going to play man up. We're not going to follow you all over the place. Although I'll be interested to see if that happens this week because Shaquille Griffin can play all over the field. Do they try to shadow him with Amari Cooper because the rest of their DBs are banged up? Trey,
As he is as well.
yeah, Trey. Well, yeah, he hasn't practiced yet. Trey Flowers is their other corner. They don't have the corner tandem that they're used to having. I don't think. The strength of this secondary is their safeties. Certainly, McDougal's having a great season. Obviously, when Earl was there, it was better. But so I wonder if they try to adjust that to recognize the fact that they are injured, that maybe they can't just play their man straight up the way they would prefer. Also, you bring KJ Wright back into this thing with Bobby Wagner, and now you've got 2 really good linebackers who can do a little bit of everything. It's obviously going to make things tough in the running game, but the short passing game too. You try to check down, which Dak loves to do with Zeke. You're probably going to have 2 guys right there. And same thing for the tight ends. I hope Blake Jarwin can find some similar success because I think it's going to be tougher against these guys.
I would think, though, that this Cowboys offense with Amari Cooper is better suited to be able to defeat a single safety high type team where the corners aren't across the board significantly better. Because one thing we know about this offense over the last month, 2 months of the season, this is an offense that's starting to find its way when it comes to hitting some of those deep balls downfield. When you got a single man downfield and there's one safety back, he's having to choose which side he's going to go to, and he's going to have to make the right read on the quarterback to be able to know where he's going. I think the Cowboys will have some opportunities. I also like the opportunity of Amari Cooper facing man a lot. If he's facing man coverage, I don't care who it is, even if it's Griffin, I think that he is good enough where he's going to make some plays. I think they're much better suited to take advantage of that than they were the first time around.
100%. And that's straight up, that's why they couldn't do anything. They could not. Right. They could not beat what the Seahawks wanted to do. They could not force them to adjust, which is why I wonder, okay, how are the Seahawks going to handle this? Are they going to trust themselves to do that against Cooper? Maybe they will play more zone than we're used to seeing. And on top of that, the other thing, at the end of the day, I don't really care because that's why you brought Amari Cooper here in the first place. Is he's going to have to make some plays. I don't think you can win this game with Amari Cooper having 4 catches for 30 yards. Unless somebody else really steps up. Though. No, I don't think.
I think the way I look at that is if Amari Cooper forces Seattle to pay more attention to him, that creates opportunities for other guys. That's how you would win it. But it has to be those other guys stepping up. Yeah, I think it has to be other guys stepping up. If he doesn't, somebody is going to have to step up and do something greater than what they typically do. It could be Amari, but if they say we're going to take Amari away, somebody else is going to have to be the benefactor of that.
I guess my point, you're right, but I don't trust Blake Jarwin or Michael Gallup Cole to blow up against this team on this stage. That's one thing against the Giants. Yeah, I haven't seen it on a consistent enough basis.
I don't think you can take away Zeke and Amari Cooper, and if you do, then you're not a good team.
That's the hope.
You're just not a good offense. You don't have a good coordinator. You don't have a good quarterback. You don't have a good system. If you get to the playoffs and you allow a team to take away your running game and your best receiver, especially when they're fourth overall picks and they're supposed to be catalytic players like they are.
I would agree with that.
I don't think that you can take away both.
I will say this though, that would be, if you're a Seattle, that would be the beauty of playing single safety high. That means you got that extra safety down in the box that you can use to be able to help against the run. And you can shade your safety, the safety that's deep. You can shade him to Amari's side to hopefully keep him in check. That's my point, though. If you do that, then it's up to the Cowboys to figure out now if they're going to play that way.
Yeah.
How much can Beasley beat you
can
in
get
single
over.
coverage?
Yeah.
How much can Cooper beat you in man coverage? How much can Dak, because they're playing man coverage, now take some of those runs because everybody is preoccupied with the guy that they're trying to keep up with? How much can he turn that into a 15, 20-yard run downfield scramble, right? That's where I think that, again, if everything works out for the Cowboys playing against this kind of defense, I think they can actually do something against this type of defense.
Yeah. I'm fascinated to see how this running battle shakes out because Wagner's Wagner, and KJ Wright's back, and he appears to be playing like his old self. And we talked about their defensive line. It seems like they should be well equipped to limit the Dallas run game, but they are giving up 113 yards per game, which is so-so. And we've already seen Zeke actually, he had a really good day against this team if he doesn't turn the ball over, if he doesn't step out of bounds.
Yeah. It was a mentally weird day for him. It just seemed like he was mentally off that day.
It was a game unlike any we've ever seen from him before.
Yeah.
He put balls on the deck twice as often as he normally does. He stepped out of bounds on what would have been a touchdown. I've completely forgot about that until we started getting into this thing this week. It was weird. I think after that game, Nick phrased it as he played his best game and his worst game at the same time.
Yeah.
It was one of his worst games as a pro in which he also really had a nice outing. So we've seen him do it before. Can he do it again? It's simplistic.
Hey, he has legs that are rested up.
It all comes down to that for me.
He's rest up.
Yep. All right. Look, go ahead.
You know Dak is averaging 274 yards per game since Cooper got here?
274?
274. Not bad.
Receiver makes a difference.
Not bad, right? But
the receiver matters. The catcher matters.
I don't think he's not throwing the Cowboys to a win on this defense, I don't think. And they're not this juggernaut, but they've been here before. And a lot of those guys are gone, but a lot of them are still here. Wagner and Wright were there for the whole thing. They get it. So I think Zeke needs to be there.
All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, I have a list of things that happened in that game, just observations from the first game. And what I want to do is I'm going to go through the list, and I want you guys to tell me, number one, if you think they will be the same or different, and how much you think they matter. We'll talk about that when we come right back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
If you're like me and you love... if you have a thing, then cutting the cord is scary. But then I found out I could switch to DirecTV Now and still get the live sports I love. No satellite needed, no bulky hardware, no annual contract, just...
Get the live sports you love. Try DirecTV Now for $10 a month for 3 months. Visit DirecTVNow.com. DirecTV Now. More for your thing. That's our thing. Use code REALDEAL. Limited time. Price for little package. After 3 months, renews monthly at full price. Currently minimum $40 unless canceled. Prices may change. New subscribers only. Cancel anytime. Content varies by package and may be limited. Restrictions apply.
Do you want the most interesting, up-to-the-minute Dallas Cowboys news straight from the Star in Frisco? How about exclusive and on command? That's right. News and nuggets you can't find anywhere else. With our exclusive Cowboys content on Alexa, you can have all the answers, secrets, stories, and more. What's Stephen Jones thinking during a game? What's Joe Looney's favorite pregame meal? We take your questions to Cowboys players and coaches, and you can hear the answers directly back to you. Just say, Alexa, open Dallas Cowboys.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with sideline access and photo ops with current players, alumni, and cheerleaders. That's not all, though. You'll get to talk X's and O's with Senior Director of Player Personnel Will McClay, and of course with yours truly, me, Brian Broaddus. You can trust the official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and with us, you'll travel like a pro. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Playmaker, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The Playmaker includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized Intense Therapy lip balm and a Cowboys can cooler. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word Cowboys. The Jack Black Playmaker, $10, free shipping.
While a player can look good on paper, it's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than just stats and scouting reports when building their team. When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than just specs and features. You've got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. Experience one for yourself. Visit myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
Back to the break.
Welcome back. This is the second segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star, talking Cowboys and Seahawks. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go through a list of observations from the first matchup in Week 3 versus the Cowboys versus the Seahawks. And some of them, it's pretty apparent there will be a difference. But I want you to just tell me if there is a difference, how much you think that difference will matter, or if it's not going to be a difference, and say you don't think it's going to make much of a difference. All right? So let's start with the first one. In that game, as Dave alluded to, the passing game for the Cowboys was really not that good. Of course, Amari Cooper was not a part of the team. Prescott went 19 of 34, 56% completion rate, 168 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. And then a 54.5 quarterback rating. And by the way, that touchdown
was a freaking handoff.
It was basically what it was it was what actually one of our callers mentioned this a couple weeks ago. He talked about how in the red zone maybe the Cowboys should think about a shovel pass to Tavon. That's exactly what it was in that game. That was their only touchdown, was a shovel pass to Tavon. I think they were at the 3, I want to say. And he gets into the end zone.
Exactly what Tavon could theoretically bring to this offense, not what he has brought to this offense. It's actually the only touchdown the Dallas Cowboys have scored against the Seattle Seahawks in the last 3 meetings.
Wow.
So
didn't know that.
They did not score a touchdown last year. Field goal fest, Dez drop fest, ugly, and then 2015, 4 field goals. Greg Hardy picked off Russell Wilson.
Yep.
Terrible, terrible game.
So how much of a difference do you think Amari Cooper makes in this game?
A big difference. I mean, I'm looking at the snap count for the receivers in the first game, and I mean, Allen Hurns had 41 snaps. Last week he only had 10 against the Giants, and he did have a nice catch, but only, and Deontay Thompson, remember him? 28.
Who?
Terrence Williams, 10. And guys that aren't doing anything. They're not playing any kind of football. Hurns sort of is, but those 3 guys right there, he's not playing. He had 10 snaps. I'm just saying that's how big difference it is. Michael Gallup.
Just from the standpoint of how they have shrunk this rotation at the wide receiver.
Not trying to
Mrs.
throw.
Hurns?
Yeah, exactly. Shout out Mrs. Hurns. But
I love that Kurt is a drop.
Mrs. Hurns?
They
so
literally
question mark.
They started the season with receivers that they have gotten rid of or downsized.
Literally.
Quite literally. Like they were like, these guys can start, and then by week 6 it was like these guys can't start.
Right.
And so that's where
these
we are.
These guys don't even need to be here.
That's where we are right now.
So I think that Cooper not only is a difference maker on offense, we've seen that. I think Michael Gallup is a different receiver as well. I think the combination of those 2 guys and the subtraction of one Earl Thomas, it makes that whole passing game.
Going down the list.
Oh, well.
I think it will. It makes a difference because he is a wide receiver that can definitely get open, or is so good that he demands double teams that should theoretically help other guys get open.
And it's just solidified.
Is that on your list?
General.
Is Earl Thomas not being on the team actually on the list?
Yes.
Okay.
What were you gonna say?
No, I just said that Cooper just solidified the whole wide receiver position. And like they mentioned just now, back then, that's when the Cowboys still had a whole mess with the wide receiver. They didn't know what they were doing, just rotating everyone out. And that was a problem because you don't really, by not giving so many opportunities to one guy, they don't really have the chance to kind of light up and get going. So it changes everything, not only for Cooper, but for the other wide receivers as well.
Okay.
Does anyone else see the name or hear the name Cooper and just think Cooper Rush?
I used to, not anymore.
I need to like.
Amari, even a little bit.
Jonathan Cooper. That's who I think of.
Oh. No, I like
Jonathan
Seriously.
Cooper.
Yeah, from last
Amari Cooper. I mean,
you don't walk through. I got to catch a flight later today, and I'm going to walk through DFW Airport, and there's not going to be a ton of Cooper Rush jerseys hanging in the stores. There's going to be a ton of Amari Cooper jerseys.
Not my point. I'm not saying who's more significant. I'm just saying I still think of, when I hear Cooper, I don't think of Amari. Because they say it, most of the time you just say it as one, Amari Cooper. But I just think Cooper, I'm thinking Cooper Rush. Or Jonathan Cooper, or Winnie Cooper.
No.
Amari Cooper.
All
right, so Nick, you did mention Earl Thomas. So let's flip over to Earl Thomas. And yes, obviously, Earl Thomas makes a difference. My question would be, though, and goes back to what Dave was saying earlier in the show, the secondary is not the strength of this defense. They've been doing it this year mainly with the fact that they have a good pass rush. They've got good guys down in the trenches, and their linebackers are really good. That being said, how much is a difference does he make in a defense where that's not really the best of what they do?
Here's what, to me, the difference will be. Dak, for some reason, is extremely lucky with defensive backs and linebackers who can't catch his passes. I mean, there should have been at least 4 or 5 more interceptions, 3 or 4 more pick sixes this year, because he's thrown it right to people, bad reads, and he's been lucky in the sense that they've dropped it.
Very true.
And Earl Thomas didn't. Earl Thomas caught one off a shoelace. Earl Thomas caught ball that was deflected 4 times by Jarwin. So he's not there to catch those passes, which other people seem to not catch.
It is a valid question. I'm not trying to make fun of you, Derek, but yeah, it's going to make a difference that a generational talent is not in Seattle's secondary. Yes, I think that's fair to say.
My question, though, was how much of a difference? Is this a situation where you think it – well, I'm just saying, do you think that this is a defense that goes from being one that you just say, hey, I don't know that we can really pass can expect to pass effectively against with him back there, to one that I think we got opportunities when he's
I bet you their record is better without him.
That's my point.
0-2,
how much of a difference? I know that he makes a difference. We all agree with that. We all agree that he makes a difference for their team, but their defense has played well without him most of the year.
And they're still a good defense, and that was the point I made. Is Dak Prescott is not passing them to a victory. I don't think. You're going to need balance. You're going to need the run game. So a difference, but just they have not fallen apart without him, but still a difference.
Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about Zeke Elliott. In that game, they obviously ran the ball significantly well. Zeke had 16 carries for 127 yards, 7.9 average. Did have the mistakes. Do you think that we will see a different Zeke this week? Do you think that with the addition of a guy like KJ Wright, maybe the running game isn't as effective as it was when they were in Seattle?
I think you've got a better chance to have a more focused Ezekiel Elliott than he was in that game, and we're not talking like he was, Space Mountain here. I mean, just his foot stepped out of bounds. I mean, he doesn't normally make a play like that, and he normally doesn't fumble either. They had a chance to score another field goal or touchdown there on that drive. So I think he will just be a better player than he was, and he was pretty good that day.
I agree with you. The combination of probably Connor Williams at left guard and then KJ Wright also being there worries me. It definitely worries me. And that's why I think it's going to be – I think that's like the story of the game.
But
more
Connor, was playing in that game. And, again, I'm all for Suafilo trying to –
That's a really good point.
Read this thing out and maybe play. But
no, you're right. Connor was in there. They ran for 127 yards.
I think he's better. He was in week 3. I would hope.
I would hope every player's better in week 18 than they were in week 3, especially a rookie. It's still, that's going to be. And the other thing too, remember that up until Indy, that was their biggest deficit of the season, and your running back's not going to factor as much in the fourth quarter when you're down 24-6.
Right.
So
here's the thing.
Hopefully they don't let that happen, and Zeke can have a role in the second half.
Zeke almost always has a good game. Some are more noticeable than others. Some, it's just one of those that they stop him in a few yards, but then at the end of the game, those yards just all add up, and it's still a good game for Zeke. So as far as him, and especially after being rested, and the energy's there, the focus is there. So I have no doubt that he's going to be good, and he's going to be able to do something for you. Whatever that is, he's going to do something.
In it's a great point. In 29 NFL cities, 85 yards is attaboy, way to go. And here, Pittsburgh, when Bell is there, and probably LA, it's 85. That's all you had.
Yeah,
you didn't get 100.
Bad day.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's take our final break. We'll come back. I have about 4 other things that were observations from the original or the first meeting between these teams this year. We'll talk about those when we come back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
While a player can look good on paper, it's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than just stats and scouting reports when building their team. When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than just specs and features. You've got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. Experience one for yourself. Visit myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
It's time for Tailgate with the OtterBox boys.
OtterBox, the makers of those crazy protective phone cases?
The one and only. They're also wild about protecting parking lot parties from sad drinks. It's why they made elevation tumblers.
Rumor around the crock pot is they're made from stainless steel with a copper lining to keep temps hot or cold.
True, they even come in 7 different sizes, up to 64 ounce, the growler.
I like how OtterBox drinks. Thinks.
And that's been Tailgating with the OtterBox boys. Check out all the colors and sizes of their elevation tumblers at otterbox.com.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Playmaker, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The Playmaker includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized Intense Therapy lip balm and a Cowboys can cooler. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word Cowboys. The Jack Black Playmaker, $10, free shipping.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with sideline access and photo ops with current players, alumni, and cheerleaders. That's not all, though. You'll get to talk X's and O's with Senior Director of Player Personnel Will McClay, and of course with yours truly, me, Brian Broaddus. You can trust the official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and with us, you'll travel like a pro. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
A man's Stetson doesn't just protect him from life's elements. It projects an unstoppable and legendary spirit, just like the men wearing silver and navy on the field every Sunday. Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. They are still the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find Stetson hats in the Pro Shop or at Stetson.com today.
Back to the break.
Final segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. Nick, tell us a little bit about Tommy John.
Well, every day, I'll tell you this, every day, and Jason Garrett brings a certain player up to the front of the line to do like the final 5 jumping jacks. You know, it's like, this is the guy, and this is the last practice before this first game. And who did he bring up?
Dak Prescott.
So I'm going to go with script number 4 as well.
Okay.
And also because it says crunch time is when you've got to stay cool. I think this
That
is
would be
definitely
Dak.
crunch
Fits
time.
Dak.
And this is when he's got to stay cool. It's definitely crunch time. Nobody keeps their cool better under pressure than Tommy John. Tommy John underwear is the best. It's got the best fabric. It's got the most comfort, no adjustment needed. Tommy John. Shop exclusive Cowboys underwear at TommyJohn.com/Cowboys. Get 20% off your first order. And when it's time to be crunch time, stay cool with Dak and Tommy John and the Cowboys.
Fourth quarter rolls around. It's a 3-point game. You maybe got 2 possessions left, and it's the difference between legends and goats. Like, you're not going to want to have to worry about your underwear. That's all I'm saying.
Nope, you need to stay cool and under pressure, right?
I am packing Tommy John for Saturday, no doubt.
Cowboys down the
Going out of town.
Well, I'm bringing an outfit just in case I get delayed. You know, I'm thinking ahead.
Smart.
Yeah. So
Cowboys, the one that says Cowboys down that leg.
No.
You ever wear that one?
If it's like laundry day and there's nothing left, I
feel
just
dumb wearing it.
Makes me feel a little too.
Who's gonna see?
Fanboy,
Like,
yeah.
That's dumb. Like, who's gonna see it?
Well,
Who's gonna
okay.
see
Well,
what you're
that's
wearing?
no. I mean, somebody will see it.
Yeah, actually the other day I had them on, and my wife was like, "You feeling like a fan today, huh?"
Yeah.
She hadn't seen. She's like, "Really?" I was like, "Well, I just got them. I got them. Yeah, I got them for free, but okay, yeah, I get it." So
yeah,
it can be a little bit.
Be proud. Be proud of wearing Cowboys on you, and especially that area.
Yeah. Well,
just saying.
I wear them as shorts.
You wear them as
Oh,
shorts.
Go get the mail.
Damn.
Just kidding.
Okay.
Interesting neighborhood.
It is.
All right, let's get back into this. I had some more observations from the game. I want you guys to tell me how much of a difference or how much you think they will be different and how much of a difference they would make in this game. Zeke in that game only had 3 catches for 11 yards. And one thing that you would notice on the second half of the year, Cowboys have been a lot more intentional about getting him involved in the passing game. Do you think that will be a difference this week, and how much of a difference does it make in the Cowboys being able to win?
Well, he was very involved. He actually could have had a lot more involvement there if he wouldn't have stepped out of bounds. That was a catch.
True. Very true.
What, 30
And
yards?
he actually had 8 targets in that game. They just weren't connecting for whatever.
That's, you know what? I'm going to go look at that stat.
That, if it's hard to think about now, the dude basically has 80 catches, but like we talked about, he was not part of the passing game. And when he was, it was 1 yard in front of the line of scrimmage with his back turned. And for the record, I still think they could utilize him more creatively as a receiver down the field. But it's hard to argue with the results. Yeah, he's a check down machine, but he turns those check downs into 4, 6, 8, 10 yards. And yeah, I think it's definitely gonna be a role because Dak is probably gonna have to check it down. He's gonna need safe places to throw the ball.
But the Cowboys have kind of lowered it down as far as passing game and his involvement later in the season. No,
I'm about to give you a stat that you're not going to like.
Give me a stat.
Hit me.
All right, before Cooper got here, 25 catches for Zeke. I don't really have the targets here, but 25 catches, and then since then, in the last 8 games, 52 catches, so double since in the last. And yeah, I mean down the stretch, these are the last 8 games just in catches: 5, 7, 12, 6, 5, 7, 6, 4. That's all with Cooper there. So.
Why does it feel like it's gone down, though?
It doesn't feel like
it doesn't to me.
Like they're actually using him a lot more in the passing game.
I don't know. To me, it felt like at the beginning of the season, they were using him a lot more. Maybe there were more mistakes, and maybe that's why I noticed it a lot more.
Well, another theory I would suggest is I think it's definitely fair to say he made more big plays in the passing game in the first half of the season. Detroit comes to mind. He scored on a screen against... Who would that have been?
A touchdown. He had a touchdown against Detroit, touchdown against at Philly, and a touchdown. These are catches? You're talking about catches?
Yeah.
Touchdown at Philly, and then New Orleans. He caught them.
Yeah. So that's not even completely true. It felt he had big plays. He hasn't made as many big plays since Thanksgiving, in my opinion, meaning like touchdowns or 30-yard gains. But
that's true.
But go look at Atlanta. I don't think he had a reception over 9 yards in that game, but he just was consistently there, consistently moving the chains. And it might not be pretty, but it's certainly important.
What's that you point out?
I was just pointing out that he had a 34-yarder against Atlanta, but I kind of wanted Dave to just go with it.
Yeah.
Oh, Sorry. He got down near the goal line, right?
I don't remember a 34-yard catch.
How many? Yeah, it was a screen, and he took it down into the red zone, and they probably didn't score.
They did it because Beasley dropped it.
Yeah.
You're right. First drive of the game.
Oh, yeah.
How many catches did he have in that game?
7 for 79.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what they were doing in the latter part of the year when they were actually having a lot of success in that little winning streak. I thought they got him very much involved in the passing game, and he was making a difference. And that's what I've been waiting for since really since the time that they drafted him. Because when they drafted him, that's one of the benefits.
Yeah. Actually, I do. Well, I don't have his target tallies from September, but I know over the second half of month of December, he's second behind Cooper on the team in targets.
Yep.
You know who's third?
Jarwin?
Blake Jarwin.
In targets?
Targets. How about that?
You know what?
How about them apples?
Jarwin's stats look a lot like Jason Witten's rookie year. He caught 35 passes his rookie year, and I believe 28 of them.
I've been making a lot of comparison between those two lately.
Did he break his jaw at any point?
Not yet.
Oh God,
Jarwin.
not trying to hurt
Gold jacket
the guy.
Jarwin. Does that work? Gold
No.
jacket Jarwin.
Oh, gold jacket.
Jarwin.
Yeah.
Gold jacket Blake.
We're there yet?
No.
Seriously? Stop it.
We're off the
No, you can't compare Witten and Jarwin.
No,
because
absolutely.
Witten, number one, never had 3 touchdowns in a game, and number
Right,
2, he's never won
exactly.
Player of the Week.
Exactly.
So
Oh
get out
my
of here with that mess. Get out of here.
Just over here slandering one of the greatest players in
Wow.
franchise
All right.
history.
We're almost at the end of the show, but I did want to at least get this one in. Obviously, that last game.
He's just butthurt.
Why?
Because of something that Jason did to him. I won't say it on air, but he's just butthurt. He's butthurt with Jason Witten because of something he did.
I like it. Butthurt.
We have.
Yeah.
See, actually, y'all have another show tomorrow. I don't. That's why I'm like, we need to talk about the game. But y'all are like,
What is it? Are you gonna do prediction now? No.
I'll text y'all my prediction tomorrow.
Okay.
So
notice he's not gonna call in.
Yeah.
No.
He's gonna be 4 sheets.
Not at 11:30
We got
tomorrow
Dave on the
morning.
line,
I'll
guys.
probably be hungover if I had to guess.
Oh, that's twice this week, man.
What can I say?
It's this whole side of the table.
It's
The youth.
These
The youth.
people,
You
these
youths.
kids of the day.
Lush
All right,
puppies over there.
We're gonna go ahead and end the show. Tomorrow we will get to that final question of how much the venue matters. Last time they were in Seattle,
It matters a lot.
time-
The Seahawks haven't beaten somebody with a winning record all year on the road.
There you go.
Thanks, Dave.
Cowboys' only loss at home is to a team with a winning record
If
that
you wanna
almost
be-
made the playoffs.
If you want to be on the show tomorrow, don't go out of town.
I'm just trying to fit as much stuff
I
in
like how he
before I
finished
leave.
every sentence with
It's important. The Seahawks aren't as good on the road. They lost to the 49ers on the road 2 weeks ago. 4-12 San Francisco.
All right.
It's important.
We appreciate you guys joining us. We'll be back tomorrow. For Nick Eatman, Dave Hellman, Amber Garcia, I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?